Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Farming Boy, JKS, Edward Watkins, Dal, Joe, David, Jag, hello, Millennium. I know you were getting a bit impatient. I had to double check you. I was reading your name right. Apologies for being a bit late. I was running a bit behind, and I got distracted by Traff, who was asking for flights and stuff that I knew off the top of my head, so I was able to help him real quick. Joe, Nathan, hello, Adam, hello, Gav, 8080. Is this Dave? This is Dave! Dave is here, and oh my god, OBS, why do you do this to me? So, those of you that are new might not recognize this. Those of you that have been around a while might remember the Insanity Challenge. And I've not touched this map since I quit it. I've not touched this map at all. But one thing that was in the back of my mind since I did kind of give up on this challenge is, can I resurrect it? Is it possible to bring this back from the brink? Because we're in early autumn. I know that I'm not allowed to tab according to the rules, but I'm just going to tab around real quick to show some stuff off. We have this early man who's doing some ploughing. That's on course play. We're in field 14. Why did the courses delete? Something's not right with the save. So I guess we're gonna need to redo this. Hang on, last use position field 14. 8 headlands after the fact. Circle bypass, generate course. We're gonna have to start this guy over again for some reason. 30k in debt, you think it's unlikely. However, there is one important thing. And that one important thing is early autumn means that we've not done the autumn silage harvest. Don't know why the course is deleted. Plow. No, this is... Field 14. Plow. Classics. Silage bales for the win. That is my plan. Something is using a lot of CPU and I need to figure out what it is. So just bear with. Google Chrome is using a lot of CPU, so I'm going to close a bunch of these. And it's jammed Farm Sim. Has that sorted it? Yes, one of the tabs I opened in Chrome had caused problems with Farm Sim. Which, by the way, isn't responding. Hopefully it'll start responding soon. It's gonna be one of these days where it just all goes wrong, isn't it? Yeah, the game's crashed. But that's not a big deal because... oh god, Sims and Flight Sim. It's not a big deal. We haven't done anything. We haven't lost anything. We're good. So into the save game we go again. We've lost literally nothing with that game crash. That's one that I don't mind at all. Use the autumn silage to get out of debt. I don't know if it's possible. Any new mods? Not in this Save game for sure. So field 14. Ah, it did save. Fantastic. So I want to load this course. And start at the first waypoint, which is where? Course play. Okay. 14. Something's very wrong today. Current view position automatic on 10 headlands after the fact. Circle bypass. Something's not right with course play. It's great to be back in school. Bucko, I think you might be the only person in the world that actually says that. I have no idea what's going wrong here. There might be a weird conflict with course play in this pack. I'm just going to disable the radio so that it doesn't have pop-ups every few minutes. I'm very confused. Is it a new version of course play? No, it's the same version I've been using for ages. That's the thing that's confusing me. Is it that I... No, I did... Did the course not generate correctly? Okay, so it is generating a... Whoa! Okay. It is generating a course at least. Granted, I am using the debug tools for this now. You've missed this series. I wasn't gonna come back to it, but I figured, why not? I'm not plowing this on my own. That line shouldn't be there. But that'll be okay. Just wait for course play to stop. Because this is generating thousands of points. It's gonna be a bit... meh. How many points has this generated? 16,746. Yeah. And then... yeah, well, it's generating 16,000 points. Now it's saving 16,000 points. Nearly 17,000. Why isn't Sanity back? I'm curious as to whether or not I can actually continue this. Joe, no. So start at the first waypoint, please. Okay, don't start at the first waypoint because you're just gonna drop about like that. Which direction is the first waypoint going? This direction. Start at the first waypoint from here, please. Okay, that's that on the go. And starting course play, I always feel like I'm okay to tab just the once to the next vehicle. Now I'm kind of locked into this. Cows I need to feed. This is instead of Lone Oak. Pretty much, yeah. I didn't even... Wow, something's really weird with Courseplay now. So we do need to give the cows some TMR with the world's tiniest front loader bucket. I see you, so don't worry. Did I know that Challenger basically turned into Fent? Did you know that Fent basically turned into Challenger here in the United States? Or North America in general? It's an AGCO rebrand that they've decided to do, where Fent is now Challenger and Challenger is now Fent. In Europe, they have changed Fent to be Challenger. In the US, they have changed Challenger. Sorry, in Europe, they've changed Challenger to be Fent, and in the US and North America, they've changed Fent to be Challenger. Has this thing been updated? I have no idea. Okay, how's that doing for the cows? Good enough. Thanks for confusing you. Thank Fent and Challenger and AGCO and Massey Ferguson. Because that is just a mess in general. For tax reasons? Actually, no, it was for sales reasons. Basically, AGCO realized that Challenger was selling in the US but not in Europe, and Fent was selling in Europe but not in the US, so they decided to rebrand both. Basically so they'd sell more tractors. So they'd have one recognizable brand as opposed to two. So what else needs to be done? I think all that really needs to be done here is actually feeding the cows. Seems ages since I've been on this map. It is ages since I've been on this map. Mainly because I'd actually given up on the challenge, and I kind of realized when I was thinking about what to stream about 20 minutes ago that, do you know what? I haven't continued this challenge to the bitter end. There may be a road back yet. Because I've not made the silage bales. If you rename your company, there's some tax loophole. Not if you rename your company to an already existing one. Basically what AGCO did was they bought Fent of America out with AGCO, and they bought Challenger of Europe out with Fent. So there's no new company being formed. Can I now... What on earth? This is really stuck. Come on. Get off the pile of TMR. Come on, off you get. Okay. Hey, Dusty. We have a solution to the teeny tiny bucket trying to feed the cows. There we go. That's much more like it. This can stop up here, please. Because remember, we're not allowed to tab on this map. I do remember the rules. Might not have played this in a while, but I do remember the rules. We're not allowed to tab, but we are allowed 2 workers. Ah. That is problems. In a couple of years, as of about 6 months ago, But obviously the old challengers aren't being rebranded, it's only new sales that are. How can you join? This isn't multiplayer, just say it. I'm guessing you found the channel by searching RainbowDave multiplayer. Or something to that effect. Unfortunately, I don't do multiplayer. I might in 19. There are many, many improvements coming to multiplayer in 19. So I may play multiplayer then. I just don't like the way multiplayer works in FS17. Right. What else needs to be done? They have water. They don't have straw. Do I want to give them straw? Also, what does this count as? Because I think that's forage, technically. What does this count as if I put it into the cows? Oh, it's hay. Okay. Can I give them this as grass? Does that like fill up their... No, it doesn't. It fills up their hay meter. Oh well. I need to get rid of that anyway, so it's... not a big a deal. Am I using the hay's grass mod? No, I am not. This is just hay that I had laying around because I think I made forage, but it counts as hay now because the save seemingly corrupted a tiny bit. I don't like using the hay's grass mod. It feels a bit cheaty to me. So I just need to open these gates and get the last bit of hay in. Why am I feeding them with the tiny bucket? Because this is the biggest bucket that I have. It's the biggest bucket available to me at the moment. If you look at the money in the top right, you can see why I don't have a bigger bucket. Because if I did, I'd sell it. In fact, there are a few things that I'm thinking of selling just to try and get the extra bit of money together. So, if memory serves, we were on a tour of the animals and the cows were our first stop. We do have a small issue in that I'm not going to be able to bring everything this time around. Shamrock will be out for Fortnite. If it's not in testing yet, which it's not, it's still going to be a little while. Okay. Bit closer, please. I'm so poor in this. How did it happen? Financial meltdowns and the current situation with farming globally. No, it's just the way that this save game has worked out over the past... Well, I say the past 24 streams. The 24 streams previous to this one that I did on this map with this challenge. That Parliament is a lot... or the Guildner is a lot slower than the Deutz, isn't it? I've just realized that I'm technically cheating. There's a reason that this was stopped. Stop. So one of the rules in this challenge is that I can't have the bloody time set to 0. One of the rules is that I can only work 9 AM to 5 PM in-game. So with it being after 5 PM in-game, 5:25, I'm only allowed to do animal work. Hey, there's Dyer. So with me only being able to do animal work and only being allowed 2 hired workers, well, that conveniently means that I can in fact bring this whole little convoy around without cheating. I'm also only allowed to use walking speed ×1 unless I'm showing something off, in which case the rules no longer apply. Not allowed money cheats. Shamrock is in testing. Joe, I sincerely doubt that, but I'm going to check the testing topic. just to be sure, because I haven't seen any word from Oxy about that. Yeah, it's not in testing. In fact, the testing list hasn't been updated since Gamescom. Hey, Michael. How am I today? I'm doing good. Doing better than I was yesterday. Let us know what's in testing. Nothing, officially. It's not... The list hasn't been updated since Gamescom, and I can tell you for a fact that Oxy has not seen an update to his testing, as there's nothing in Slack about it. If the map was marked as in testing, I'd be on it right now, instead of being on the West Coast. Which isn't disrespectful to BulletBill, it's disrespectful... It's a case of, I know people will want to watch Shamrock Valley a bit more than the West Coast. As I take off my slippers, because I've realised they're actually quite uncomfortable when I'm using the pedals. Slippers? They're not slippers, Dave. They're sandals. $64 watching today. A much better viewer turnout than yesterday when I ended an hour early because I was really annoyed that basically nobody was watching. So just a reminder for those of you that weren't at the end of Landy's Street... Crocs? No, just normal... sandals. What would I do if Shamrock was actually in testing? Continue this stream and go mental at about half 7 o'clock and start recording. No disrespect to Bill, but... that's a mod issue, Lewis. Oh, for the love of... I was saying about... yeah, Landy's not going to be streaming today, guys, if you missed the end of his stream yesterday. He's actually going to an air show today, so he gets to see planes go meow. That's the wrong direction too, Dave. Oh, this is a mess. Evening, aggravates. You're the same diet feeder on Ballincraig. Hey, Oxy. I suppose you can answer the big question that everybody has. Is there any update on Shamrock? Seeing as that's all everybody cares about right now. I presume no. But you might have forgotten to let people know that it is in testing or something. As if by magic. And if it is in testing, I'm screwed. So Simulation for the Nation's gonna steal Landy's spot tonight. Should we put a message? Yes! Actually, Michael, please do. I don't know if you can tag everyone, but it'll be amazing if you can. Ginger, which one? Because there were like 3. Still nothing from Giants. There you go, guys. That's the official, real, actual news on Shamrock is there is no news. Okay, I'd best just stop here for a second. And just wait for all this stuff to catch up with me, because this tractor is much faster than the other two. If you're enjoying the stream while we're sat here waiting for the slowpokes to catch up, and potentially become slow bros, I've been watching a bit of Pokemon lately on Twitch. And I'm going to do that again tonight because Twitch is running daily Pokemon marathons, and I like Pokemon. If you're enjoying the stream, there's a like button just below the stream. Go and hit it, because that helps out the channel to no end. And if you're really enjoying it and you're new and you haven't done so yet, feel free to subscribe as well. I haven't really tested it other than giving console locks. Controversial opinion, that's probably the way they should test everything. Is go through the console log first, give that to the modder to fix, and then actually test the rest of the map. Because that's the stuff that you can't know when you're sending the map in. You hate the brakes on this. I actually love the fact that the brakes are terrible. I actually think that's a really nice feature of this pack. That the brakes are astonishingly bad. Right, that's that pulled up. Yes, we do need the teeny tiny front loader of awesome. Okay, so Control F gives me direct control of this. Right control, specifically. Ooh, that's an autosave. And right Shift F stops the telehandler in its tracks. Oops. Wrong button! I'm gonna need to disconnect that temporarily while I just clean up the corn mess that there is here. Pigs are at 89% health. I think the pigs are fully fed for the most part. I do seemingly need to give everybody water, and I'm gonna try and just clean up the pig mess here. Including, but not limited to, cleaning up the bits of corn that they've dropped. And that's the teeny tiny front loader of awesome full. I'm funny. I hope you mean funny looking. El Drunko, the magical wonder horse. I think you'll find, Spudman, that Daggerwind's horse is actually called Depresso, the magical wonder horse of awesome. Okay, so the pigs are still good for food, as it turns out. Pigs... the pigs... Oh dear. The pigs are still good for food, which isn't actually the best thing in the world. Right. I'll use this thing to fill them up with water. That stagger's not mine. What? Depresso the magical wonder horse of awesome. I think you'll find that it is actually mine. I named the horse. And he's not impressed that I've named it Depresso. Keep in mind that me starting me... What the hell, pig? That's not how you're supposed to use that. That's really not how that's unhygienic. I suppose at least the pigs here aren't merging. I mean, that's one bonus. Turned off the engine by mistake. Since when do pigs care? Pigs are naturally, like, really clean animals. They've just got a bad rep. Lift this so I don't accidentally grab more corn. Right! Hello, Rob. How you doing today? So that's the pigs sorted. Next up is the sheep, and I'm gonna actually lead the charge with the teeny tiny front loader of awesome, because that's the second slowest vehicle. In second position will be the load all, and tailing up the rear is going to be our fastest vehicle, because that always causes problems if it's near the front. Hello, Mr. Bunny. Trailing up the rear is going to be the Reutz, which can just cause problems at the back. And away we go with the convoy of madness. Mine is El Drunko the Magical Wonder Donkey. I'll have you know the donkey on Shamrock Valley is called Dara. Dara the donkey. Up on for an age. YouTube screwed you. It's kind of fine, Rob, in a way, because I've actually not really been streaming much the last few days. Friday, I just straight up took a day off because it was my birthday. Saturday and Sunday and Monday, my sister was asleep. And yesterday, nobody showed up, so I ended the stream an hour early. But, you see, I'm playing with Seasons. I am. I don't use it much, but I do really like Seasons. And I think I am playing with the newest version that was basically made for Simulate because he found a problem. Horse RL is named Donkey Kong by you. That's amazing. So is it a... Oh, it's a horse. I was going to say, is it a donkey called Kong or just a horse named Donkey Kong? But no, I'm being silly. Right, next job after this is... After we feed the sheep, that is. Is going to be basically fast forwarding till 9 AM. Hello, Ethan. We're going to fast forward till 9 AM, and there's a good reason that I'm not working at night. Which you'll see as we move through the night time here in a minute. What the crap was that? Joe, don't argue with Nightbot. You'll just get yourself timed out or banned. Will I use the TW25 on this map? No. All my vehicles on this map you've seen. There's the Herdeman that's in a field currently, just waiting for morning. You've got this little Gildner with the world's smallest front loader. You've got the Lodall. You've got the Deutz. The Lodall's actually holding the Deutz up, so I'm going to pull up here again. Pull up in a way that doesn't cause traffic problems. There we go. Am I going a pink again this October? I really don't know, actually. I haven't planned it out. On Shamrock, no, I don't have plans to use the T-dubs on Shamrock. I have all my equipment on Shamrock picked and chosen, and actually I've been doing a lot of work. Last night I did a lot of work on Shamrock Valley to get the map into the position where I'm going to be happy starting to record, and I'm hoping to record a video or two tonight. Well, one video tonight because I'm planning on something that's going to take a while to record. Hello, Glengar. I'm hoping to record a video tonight. I did actually record 2 videos for different series last night. And it's going to be a time-lapse series, which isn't in Farm Sim. It's not even going to be. It's not going to be a long series. It's kind of a mini series, and I'm going to get everything recorded before I even start putting up videos. Because it takes a while to get the recording done. Will I stream till 7 today? It looks like it. Yeah. So let's turn off follow me so I can get in around here. Do the sheep need cleaning? Not really. They could probably do with more food, but grass is definitely more of a going concern here, so let's Or water, I should say, is more of a going concern. In fact, yeah, the sheep are fine for grass. And during the winter we will need to feed the sheep hay, which I've not prepared at all. This is something I forgot. We're going to do a field of hay. Just because I completely forgot the sheep will need some. And in fact, we'll do field 81 in hay. Not seen an Insanity stream in a while. It's because I gave up on Insanity. I've decided to see if we can resurrect the challenge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull this down here. We don't need either of those two right now. I'm going to pull this up here, and now I can grab the other two vehicles and hopefully spin them around real quick. Like so. Do I still need anything? It's a success. It's your first Insanity stream. I've not done one in a while, so don't feel like you're missing out on anything. You're driving IRL while watching me. That's a bad idea. That is a terrible idea. So, we've got the pigs, cows, and sheep all sorted. We've got the 3 machines that we were using to sort them on the way back to the farm. And the only job left to do really is to put this stuff away before we fast forward through the night. You watch the archives. Awesome. You know how we got where we are right now. Good. Because I know that some people have no idea how I've ended up with minus 31, or basically 31,500 in debt. Or why I'm using seasons, or how in early autumn we've got animals in year 1, and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot that probably could be explained. Or even why I'm using this equipment, this tiny little equipment that's basically pointless. There's reasons for all of it, and thank you, Del. I did warn him. So to make a long story short, if you don't want to watch the archives, which I suggest you do. But if you don't want to watch the archives, basically, Brian Sample, thank you very much for subscribing. You're a fine sample of a human being. Okay. Welcome to the RainbowDave Madhouse, hope you enjoy your stay. Can I do some seeding? I don't plan on seeding until spring. Spring is going to be when I do the seeding, because I need to get the fields plowed up as much as possible. And ideally cultivated as well. But the TLDR of how we got to this position with this machinery is we started with bigger stuff, and the Farming Classics pack was released. We started off with the Modern Classics, we moved to the Farming Classics when that got released, because I wanted to go with the smallest machinery I possibly could. The reason we're using seasons is for added difficulty. We have, you can't see it, but we have a 300,000 euro loan out in the bank, so we can't borrow money to pay anything off. And I'm not allowing myself to buy new equipment, other than doing straight swaps, until such a point as we have the loan paid off. And the big problem is I'm going to need to make about 80,000 really fast. And I don't know if that's possible. Is VF on tonight? I have no idea. Hey, simulation gaming, good lord. I think that's a different channel again. So many simulator simulate channels going around now. If you want to join in with the community away from the streams, by the way, you can join the Discord. There's a link in the description. And there's a link in the description to the Discord. It's not just farm sim we talk about in there. There's a flight sim room, a motor racing room. And basically, if there's enough people who are interested in something, I'll make a new room for it and add it onto the list. Which Landy hates because he hates how clustered it is when you've got the staff role and access to most of the rooms. Yeah, and if you're not aware, Landy's not streaming tonight. Simulation for the Nation is. He's taking Landy's place and position. There is also a meme room for memeing. It is my meme palace. Chocolate room. Chocolate can go in general. So let's get this stuff put away. Followers P and E were stopped. Presumably Patricia and Eric. So one thing that I do have to do on this map is I've got to put everything away, because you guys probably know I've got a really, really bad habit of never ever putting stuff away. Ever. Yeah. Rectifying it on this map. For sure. This can go in to over here. Whoops. 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 Day 2, early autumn. So we're going to go into mid-autumn next, I believe. There we go. I think this night transition will bring us into mid-autumn, which doesn't give us anything extra to do. It just means that, well, it does to a certain extent. We can actually start fertilizing the field that we're currently plowing. No, I don't want to put this in there. This can go away into the shed of many, many pallets. This is where our fertilizer and seeds are being stored. You can see we've got a good stock of everything, so we're not going to be spending much on seeding. Does the title say "Can resurrect the farm"? It says "Can we resurrect the farm?" It's because I've given up on this as a lost challenge, but I can't help but wonder, and I've been wondering this for a while, is it possible that we can resurrect it? So I'm having to be careful with how I fast forward here. I'm actually going to fast forward into nighttime here. Just so you guys can see, this is the reason that I'm not including nights in this challenge. Because it's basically impossible to see. We can go Alt-N and skip to dawn. There's dawn coming in, and crap, we lost more money overnight. Just skip it on till 9 AM. $8.59, and there's 9 AM, so down to ×1 acceleration. Because we do need to use ×1 acceleration. Oh, but this rule's set. We are in mid-autumn now. The trees have taken on their lovely autumn colours. As we have some smooth jazz. playing from the electronical dance music playlist. Drive from the current waypoint onwards, please. So that field is being sorted right now. Yeah, field 15 does require fertilizing, which is fine because we have a tractor that can fertilize. In fact, we've got two, and I'm going to use the Deutz for this. For reasons of I did have a bigger bucket, dang it. We're going to use the Deutz for this for reasons of it's a bit easier. Of course. Yeah. Sell the little baler. Do you know what? That's not a bad idea. Because I want to be able to sell the bales properly and not have to worry about why is... Oh, it doesn't like the Deutz. Will you like the Guldner a bit more? Do I need the JCB? I do need the JCB actually. I need that so that I can use the big bags. And I'm going to be using it more and more as I go to make my own pig food, which will be coming up very shortly. What in the crap is going on with this? I apparently also need the load all in order to actually pull that baler. Or not? Vader knows what's coming. By hook or by crook, it knows what's coming, and it's fighting it with all its might. If it means I have to use a combine harvester to pull the baler down to the shop, by God, I'm going to use the combine harvester to pull the baler down to the shop. I have no way of moving this. Okay, the baler's just gonna go. The baler's just gonna go. Because I've got nothing what can move it. Where is the baler? So that's sort of a bit of a financial problem. See you, Michael. Sell the farm and keep the baler. Right now we can actually get back to doing some farming work. Because I need to grab the fertilizer spreader. I need to put those, well, the Guldner away, and I need to swap the implement on the front of the load-all. If I have the load-all, why have the loader tractor? Because this can pull something that's 3-point while I'm doing loading. So if I need to move something that goes on the 3-point and load at the same time, which granted is a rare situation, it kind of has a dual purpose. Plus, I want to have a third tractor. And having a third tractor that can be dual purpose is really useful. See you, Joe. So this is the primary reason I have the load all. Is so that I can... Which one of these is fertilizer? That's seed, so this one over here must be fertilizer. Yep. 10, 10, 10. From the classics. It's from the modern... Yeah, it might be an external version of it, but it is basically the same thing. So how much is left in this? 728, and the spreader I think takes 700. You'll have to forgive the slight lack of realism here as I forced the bag to unload. It takes 330, that's actually slightly better. Do I still have wraps to sell? Do I have any crops that I can sell? I have wheat that I can sell. But I'm gonna wait until winter. I'm gonna wait until winter or springtime. Well, I'm gonna wait until winter to sell the crops because that's actually when the rules say that I can. Well, I think that's when the rules say that I can. But I sold some stuff in the previous stream, so the rule about money is technically active. I can, if needed, sell every bit of crop that I have to try and resurrect this map and resurrect this farm. My crops, bagged silage, but anyway, I don't have any baled silage that I can sell. No, bucko. Hello, Rafal. But the aim here is basically to try and figure out a strategy where I can get this back to being playable. Ideal world. No rule about selling crops. I might have forgotten to write that down, but the plan was that I'm only allowed to sell crops in the winter. I did sell some previously. Yeah. I think the plan that I had was that I'm only allowed to sell crops in the winter, so I'm actually going to go by that original plan from here on out. Because I think winter and spring have the two highest prices for crops. Now what I could in theory do is actually sell off, as some people have suggested I do, the Goldner. That wouldn't be the worst idea. The problem with that would be kind of a big one in that I'd be down to just having 2 tractors. It would free up some cash. In fact, as a matter of fact, there is some stuff that I can sell right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just switch this off. I'm gonna leave this in the field. Because there is some equipment I can sell. It's being blocked by the damn baler. But I can sell off... What did I leave running over here? Oh, the JCB. I can actually sell off the potato equipment because I don't need it anymore and it's just hellish anyway. So that's 3 pieces of equipment that are not necessary, that I can just straight up dump. Because if I do potatoes again, which is unlikely. I'll probably do sugar beets if I do a root crop again. If I do them again, it'll be with much bigger equipment, much more logical equipment. So getting rid of this stuff is just going to free up cash. So the golden idea I don't like, but the selling stuff idea I do. And bear in mind that once I get positive I can start paying off the loan, which is a big positive. Granted, the problem there is this equipment is not going to get me positive. CD has the beet harvester on the mod hub. Yes, he does, but that thing is tiny. So I'm probably not going to use that either, just because it is hilariously tiny and about as useful as a potato harvester. I do like it though. I just don't like single row or 2 row harvesters in general. Yeah, Glengar, I mean, that's why I don't use it. Like, I'll use the trailed one that comes with the game, because that's a 6 row beet harvester, but the armor salmon, unfortunately, just is too small for it to be very useful. I love it. I love how it looks. I love the fact that it is a small harvester, but it's just not something that I'd use. Because of the size. It's not something that's very usable for me. Chat said again, this happens, Ethan. Just give people a chance to wake up. I'll just Is Armor Salmon an Irish brand? I don't know. You knew that was coming? Will it be on Discord after? I'll be in Discord for text, but maybe not voice. What was that? That was the wake up please horn. It wakes chat up. You see, people are talking now. Hello, Larkin and Mike. Don't blame me. Everybody blame Ethan. It's all Ethan's fault. He possessed my hand and made me press the button that sets off the horns. Am I ever gonna play Lone Oak again? I don't know. It's a map that I'm not Landy, Mike. I might have bad hair and a bad beard, but my hair and beard are far superior to Landy's bad hair and bad beard. Simple thing behind Lone Oak for me is not many people want to watch Lone Oak from what I've seen. And views have kind of fallen off a cliff with that map, so I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna play it again. And Bill and Oxy both know that, you know, if a map's not doing well for us, we're gonna drop it. In general, it's YouTubers. But I'm not gonna play it anytime soon. It's not in my current plans. Then again, I said the same about Insanity literally yesterday, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt. It's fine, Mike. That happens hilariously often. Hence why I had a stock response prepared. I think everybody understands who, I guess, does content, but Bill and Oxy know what the deal is. You know, as a YouTuber, you gotta make decisions based on what'll get views, unfortunately, and very unfortunately, Lone Oak just doesn't fall under the category at the moment. American maps don't seem to mix with the UK and Ireland. Yeah, it's the problem that I saw coming with Lone Oak, unfortunately, is just the UK and Ireland community don't engage with American maps. The American community engages with the European maps big time, but it doesn't go the other way around, annoyingly. And that's a real shame. You know, I do like playing American maps because they're very different. It's a very different style of play that you kind of have to use. And you can use some really, really, really cool maps. Or mods. But when nobody's gonna watch, there's no real incentive for me to use those mods or to play those maps. And when people only seem to want to watch, like, UK-based maps, limits what I can do. What on earth did he say? Nightbot is that. Nightbot says exactly what I told it to say. It's running timers. It says what I wanted to say when I wanted to say it. So you see it pop up in chat saying something about rules. It's me telling it every however many minutes, I can't remember what it is. Say use, you know, ping off this command, or every however many minutes ping off this other command. So you see Nightbot pinging something into chat, that's a timer that I've set previously. It's just so that the mods don't have to keep remembering the same thing, you know, or keep saying the same things over and over. Because I know from experience it gets annoying having to say the same stuff constantly. Case Maxim just went past, you could hear it shifting up gears from a mile away. We've had a class Arion going around lately. That thing is loud. Yes, thank you, Smarmulart. One of the things I think we'll see in 19, more mods, more maps. I think from a more negative point of view, if you want to put it that way, you'll see some modders and mappers just up and quitting, and they're maybe the guys that, with all due respect to them, are either looking for an excuse to quit, because I know there are some that are just looking for excuses, or some that just don't want to learn a new style. Because the modders particularly, who make equipment, are going to need to learn a bunch of new stuff. Did I hear the news? What is the news, Smarmulart? Are you just spamming my rules? Comically, I don't have a rule against spam. Yeah, I do have a rule against spam. It's just one of the unwritten ones that should go without saying. But when I say modders might quit because of the new, you know, they got a lot to learn that's new, that's a good thing because it means the mods are going to be so much more detailed. I mean, you look at the trailers that come out for FS19, and you look at the equipment. That's all the new materials system at work, and that just looks amazing. The fact that, you know, different materials look like the materials are supposed to be is a really, really big plus to the game. When do you think we'll start seeing fact sheets? I know VF said Thursday, but I don't know why he said that, because they've always come on a Friday. I would expect them, if not this week, then next week to begin. I actually kind of half expected them to start last week, so I'm kind of surprised that they didn't. But I would say the first fact sheet is imminent for FS19. I love how these names that I'm inventing for you, Sim, nobody can spell because I'm just making noises. The old way still kind of works, so it just look like manure. Yeah, but it makes the bad mods stand out so much more as bad. You know, that's really the big bonus of the way the fact that Giants is changing up how modding is going to work so much at the top end is that the bottom end, the guys that just can't be bothered to do anything, are going to stand out like sore thumbs. And the guys that do want to learn, and yeah, the guys like, and I'm going to reel off a few names. Black Sheep, I think, is more than able to deal with the new material system. MadXJS is very excited about the new material system. Who else could be really good with it? I think Farm is going to be really good with it. Farm is going to do amazing stuff in 19. Oxygen David, I mean, he's kind of getting into vehicle modding at the perfect time where he doesn't need to learn two new, you know, the old system and the new system. He just needs to learn the new system. It was a mix, Glengar. Tech mods, yeah, tech mods will get in on the material system. CD, I think, will. I kind of think, without knowing anything, it might make modding just a tiny bit easier because you won't have to painstakingly try and make a normal map or a specular map that makes it look like the material you're trying to emulate. And you'll see very quickly which modders are up to the challenge of learning a new system and which ones aren't. That's always been Matt's modding team name, Easy Modding Boys. Home to all of the T-dubs ever, including 99.9% of them that never existed. You can barely open a mod in GE. Yeah. It's where you really gain respect for modders when you open GE. Or fail to in your case, DJ. And you see that, yeah, it's not a case of a mod comes together in 3 hours. I can put an edit together in 3 hours. And even then it looks hilariously basic. But there's a lot more work goes into mods than a lot of people realize. You can break a mod in G. That is the first step to learning how to make a mod, Lewis. Believe it or not. If you can break a mod and then get it to work again, congratulations, you're learning how to mod. You dare not touch G. Try it, Ethan. Seriously. It's... I would argue not very skill-based. G isn't... Giant Setter isn't skill-based. It's knowledge-based. And patience-based. The more time you can put into learning GE and learning the tricks and shortcuts you can take without impacting on, I guess, performance or quality, the better a modder you are. There's very little skill involved. Especially with maps. And I say that BulletBill will tell you this, and Oxygen David will tell you the same thing. There's no skill involved in mapping, it's all knowledge and time. The better a map is, the more time has been put into it. And the more the modder knows about GE. And I would argue to a certain extent the same goes for mods. In general, like vehicle mods and stuff. The better they are, the more time's been put into them. And while now it might not be the best time to start learning modding because there's going to be a lot changing in 19, there's never really a bad time to start learning. Because there's going to be so much that'll be the same, because it's still going to be giants that you use, and for making models it's still going to be Blender that 99.9% of people are going to use, or a pirated version of Maya, because Maya costs $1,000 a year. Although if you are starting to learn modeling, I would genuinely, and Matt's going to agree with me here I think, use Blender, because it gives you the most bang for your buck, because it's free and has so much, and it's open source, so if it doesn't do something and you talk to the right people, you can probably make it do it. Any news on a Blender plugin? I think they're still finalizing the Maya one. Because they use Maya themselves, so I think they're kind of holding the Blender plugin until they figured out Maya. Keep in mind that with every game, giants learn more and more as well. So with 19, well, 17. I'm going to start with 17. With 17, giants learned how to make dynamic stuff work. You look at the silage, the tip anywhere piles, they're all dynamic. You can put them anywhere, and especially with silage, it will deform. That's one of the first steps to full dynamic terrain. And this is something that they're learning slowly and over time, because it is something that is incredibly difficult to put into the game. And I'll speak on behalf of giants here, because I've done this in the past, and giants have come out in their Discord. I've said this exact line in the past, and giants have come out and said, yeah, that's exactly why. The reason FS19 doesn't have dynamic terrain, and the reason we won't probably see it in Farm Sim for a little while, is because it's nigh on impossible to optimize. It is incredibly difficult to optimize in any game engine. There's a reason very few games have dynamic terrain, and those that do have it on a very limited scale. Spin Tires has dynamic terrain, but you look at the size of the maps, it's very limited and you can see very little, because the mist there is acting... Basically, anything beyond the mist isn't being rendered by the game. You go into the, you drive on a bit, the stuff that you've just driven through no longer exists. It'll keep it in memory, but it's not trying to constantly render it. Whereas with Farm Sim, especially in multiplayer, it would have to constantly render everything. The most basic thing, a weight or a box trailer. Although a box trailer can get really complicated really quickly. I'd say like a weight, just a block weight, is one of the best things you can start learning to model with. Although in all honesty, if you're starting to learn to model, don't make anything for Farm Sim. Go onto YouTube, search for Blender Guru, follow his tutorials, he knows everything there is to know. You will learn a lot. I know Matt recommends him, I recommend him too. And there's a lot that you can learn from that. That's the best way to learn modeling, is to not try and make a mod straight off, but to have that as your end goal and learn with some stuff that maybe isn't applicable to Farm Sim. You know, making a wine glass, making a bulb, making, this, that and the other that you'll never make for Farm Sim, but they'll teach you the methods that you will need to make a Farm Sim mod. And one other thing you need to learn that Blender Guru won't tell you is that if you're modeling for Farm Sim, you need to worry about tries and not quads. Now, every Blender tutorial you'll see ever is about rendering for like videos, and they'll say, oh, you should always have quads. That's not what you need to worry about in Farm Sim. What you need to worry about is tries. Because this is a game, it works off polygons, which are three-sided shapes. And that's something that I forgot when I was doing some modeling for something in the past. Anybody who's just tuned out there because I was talking about modeling stuff, I apologize. You can listen again. I'm going to stop now. Made a restock in SolidWorks 4. SolidWorks I love, but it's no good for farm sim. You can make some really pretty stuff in SolidWorks, and it's really user friendly, but it is not good for farm sim. The only thing I really want is $64.99 or $82.20 or $62.90. I'll probably try and make one, which will look like FS08. DJ, do exactly what I said. Just follow Blender Guru's tutorials. You'll make a lot of stuff that you'll never need to know about. And probably use some methods you never need to know about. But knowing those methods and how to apply them and when to apply them is better than not knowing them at all. Even if you never apply them. You can never get the scale for FarmSim. FarmSim uses the default scale. The one thing about Blender is that everything's like 10 times bigger than it needs to be, I think. So you need to scale stuff down in Blender once it's made. And if you're working on something in Blender, you need to scale it up from GE to Blender. Evening, Bill. We're having a lovely little chat about how people should learn to model. VF, hello. Polygon has any side shape, really not three-sided. Yeah, but in video game terms, the polygon is 3 sides. It's a try. Especially if you're looking at it from Blender's point of view. It's going to only render tries, it's not going to try for quads. So while, yes, a polygon is just a shape. A square is technically a polygon. As is a circle, comically. It's just that a circle has infinite numbers of sides. I think you look up Blender Guru after the stream. I recommend it. If you're looking to get into 3D modeling, he's the guy to go to. Blender's the program to use. Giants will always tell you, oh, but Maya is so much better. Blender. It's free, gives you so much more bang for your buck. If you missed anything of note, if you have, then I have too, Bill. Because I've not really been keeping up either. I know there hasn't been like a fact sheet or anything brought out. I've been dealing with some personal crap as well, which is always fun. I'm playing a lot of Flight Sim. But in terms, the only thing of note really is that Giants still seemingly haven't reopened testing. Or there's been no update on testing. And yeah, there's still no update on the FS19 Blender plugin, but that isn't really a big deal until November. It's possible I have no tries. Well, yeah, you gotta keep the tries as low as possible. Yeah, it's... I think, Bill, it's not even a case of trying to insult people, it's a case of, well, I know this program, therefore it's the best. I've used this one, therefore I like it. Yeah, I've not used Maya, so I can't speak about whether it's better or not. What I will say is that looking at it from a pure financial standpoint, Blender being free and the other programs being paid, Blender gives you the most bang for the buck. It's the best value for money. It can do the most for every penny you spend, which is going to be 0. The test team, some of them were not, but the guy who's testing mods was. If you just send Giants, they will check textures and stuff, Joe. They do test some stuff like that, because I sent them something in the past that failed testing. And I accept. You might notice that I've never once like said, oh, I've had a mod fail testing, blah 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 blah, giants are victimizing me or whatever. Like, a surprising number of people seem to want to do. I looked at the rejection they gave me and I said, yeah, that's a fair, fair cop there. I'm never going to be able to get this onto the mod hub, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over to mod host and put it up there. And if ever I make something that I think should go onto the mod hub, then I'll upload it to the mod hub. I was kind of just testing what could and couldn't go up. And yeah, like MadXGS found out, most of the tractors in Farm Sim are actually made in Blender. There is going to be a plugin for Blender for FS19, it's just that they're still working on it. I think they're still actually working on the Maya one, which is why there's no Blender plugin, because they need to finalize the features of the plugin itself first. I wouldn't be too surprised that the Maya one is still unfinished and they're kind of using I don't want to say hacks, but they're using workarounds to get stuff into game for testing versions and finalized versions of tractors, just so that they can test them. That is correct, Linger. The majority of the tractors are outsourced, to my knowledge. In the words of that New Zealand drunk driver, they're just waiting for me. Look pretty complete at FarmCon. It was always going to, because they're always going to show off the feature complete stuff. I think there was stuff missing from it that you might not have noticed, or stuff that wasn't 100% finalized that they'd intentionally left out. And I think they're just kind of finalizing the Maya one, because like once you get the Maya one finalized, because that's the program they use, they can get they can get stuff in super fast, and streamline their own imports into the game. Because at this point, I'm fairly certain they're kind of waiting on some imports to come in. I think, Bill, you might be onto what's the problem. The wear and tear. Not seen any footage of that yet. And I can't help but wonder if that might be what they're trying to finalize in the Maya plugin. Because I've got a sneaking suspicion that's not finished yet. And I've got a sneaking suspicion it's the wear and tear is causing an issue because it's struggling. Works out the DDS. But would that not be part of the... Would it not be a function of the material exporter, though? Maybe that's what... That might be, Dengar. It might be that they're actually struggling to import stuff. And that's why we've seen so very few different tractors. As a matter of fact, I'd be very disappointed if the very, very first fact sheet that came out wasn't the 8400R. Because that would just be pure memes. An 8400R fact sheet, just released on its own, would be pure memes. It's not part of the new materials textures. It has to be a function of the materials, though. Because plastic doesn't wear in the same way as stainless steel does. And rubber wears in a completely different way to titanium or aluminium. So it has to be a function of the materials. There's no other way that would work. It's part of the specular. Ah, okay. But it would still have to be there would have to be a function of the materials that is like wear definitions. Because otherwise it would just fall apart at the seams. Where's only metal at the moment? But aren't 90% of tractors now made of plastic? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but like, aren't tractor bonnets now primarily plastics? Granted, you know, really resilient plastics, but plastic nonetheless. Is designed more for plows and what? Yeah, but tractors wear too! That's where it kind of falls apart, it seems, I think. It's like, it's a really good idea, but it needs to be on all of the materials. Not just the metal, because tractors wear in real life, and not having wear on plastic, which is what most of the tractors are now made of, makes no sense. Also, who's that? Matthew Griffin, thank you very much for subscribing. Welcome to the RainbowDave Madhouse. Hope you enjoy your stay. Wear could look very silly if it's put on non-metal materials, which would be basically a tractor. What did P-Freak say? P-Freak says, and this is his line that he keeps rolling out, and I think he's wrong on it. And I fundamentally disagree with him. That Maya is the only modeling program you should ever learn because it's the best. When in reality, I think that could be said of Blender, because Blender's open source and freely available to all. There's no $1,000 a year subscription fee. There's no faffing about trying to get everything to work. I genuinely believe Blender is the only program you ever need, because if something doesn't work in Blender, well, you can make it work. If you learn a bit of coding, you can make stuff work in Blender. Blender's only good for newbies, Maya's for pros. As he looked at the outsourcing that happens with, it's mainly been done for things like plowshares. Yeah, but they're... The thing that would wear most on a farm would be tractors, because they tend to be, you know, driven against bushes and whatnot. Blender's missing a lot by default, yeah, but you can get plugins that do pretty much everything in Blender. Maya is a pro package, but most pros will still prefer Blender. They just use Maya so they can charge people more. I can guarantee you that. Now, Bill, be nice. But I can guarantee you that most people who use Maya only use it because they can charge their customers more. The only thing that I'm aware of the Blender is missing is the ability to do some animations. And that's only from what I've heard. I've heard that like there are certain animations and particle systems you can only insert with Maya. But you could probably jerry-rig it, Blender, to do it. Again, you learn a bit of coding, the right bits, you can make Blender do whatever the hell you like. Hello, EJ. In fact, there's a whole range. I'm gonna kind of gush on Blender here for a second. You know your way around 3ds Max much better. I'm a newbie when it comes to all 3D modeling outside of SolidWorks, which isn't a 3D modeling software. Granted, it's an orthographic projection software. Well, it's genuinely like Blender's the easiest 3D modeling software I've known. even SolidWorks, you need to learn a whole buttload of stuff to get modeling to work. It's basically it. Other 3D commercial. Yeah, I was just about to say, Matt. There is on Imgur and probably any other image hosting sites a full subset of GIFs that are just Blender renders of water. And Blender renders of liquids, and Blender renders of various physics things. Just to show off the power of Blender and the ability of whoever made that animation. And that's kind of what people... I think people do it as a hobby. Kind of making insane physics animations in Blender because they can. It's something that's inherently unlimited, but limited by what the exporters can do. Or what programs that use Blender can do, I guess. You wonder if you can make mods out of MS Paint. I forgot they made... Yeah, the Paint 3D now, isn't it? Because they got rid of Paint for a period and then... There's that guy shouting in chat. That's EJ, he's mental. I like it. There we go. EJ always comes in and shouts, "Calm down, EJ. It's only Tuesday." Is it Tuesday? Wednesday? It's only Wednesday. Didn't even have to check my phone. I realized I didn't stream Monday. It is Wednesday. It's only Wednesday. When I say I have no idea what day of the week it is on any given day, I'm not lying. I genuinely have no idea what day it is. All the best modders use SketchUp. I'm still amazed that there is a modder out there that uses SketchUp to make the basic models. Can you make a mod using PowerPoint? DJ, if you could actually make a mod using PowerPoint, I would download it and use it on principle. No matter how terrible it was. Just like, this mod was made with Microsoft PowerPoint. It's impressive just for that. Yeah, the guy that uses makes all the vouchers, Farmari, he uses SketchUp for the initial model, and he does bring it into Blender afterwards. Yeah, he uses SketchUp still. And for those of you that don't know 3D modeling, anything about 3D modeling, or modding in general, there is one program that people always say never ever use, and that's SketchUp, because it's terrible. It's made for, like, architects and stuff to show off what rooms would look like. Very vaguely. It's not made for making tractors or 3D models. But there are people out there that still use SketchUp, and I see it on Facebook a lot with the blocky mods. They're usually SketchUp. But Ferrari uses it. And he uses it well, and he uses it properly, and he's a blummin' wizard for being able to do what he can with SketchUp. Hello, Blige. It's planning software, and that's about it. It's not supposed to be used as a 3D modeling software ever, but Farmari uses it. Granted, it's only to make the basics, but still. I get the feeling that a lot of the weird stuff you've seen, Bill, and that I've seen are just placeholders. That's why I've not been focusing on the weird stuff that I've been seeing. Because there are some stuff that I've been looking at pictures and whatnot and saying, that can't be right. No, there's no way that's going to be in the final version. If I see something that just looks horrifically out of place, I just write it off immediately as that's a placeholder. Hey, Agrabits. Welcome back. His Voltros turn out pretty good. That's because he uses... I've seen him speaking about this. He uses SketchUp to make the basic blocky model. So he'll block out areas with SketchUp, and then he'll go in with Blender and just kind of refine it down to what you get as a mod. And that, I think, is the best way to use SketchUp. Whoop. That's an honest opinion. I like FS19. I watched, and this might shock some people, I watched Agron's video that he did on recently, with the, you know, the Gamescom footage. And, that allayed a lot of my fears. There were a couple of new things that I questioned. But again, it was really a case of, I think, you know, I see something weird and I just immediately say, that's, until proven otherwise, that's a placeholder. And I do make exceptions, EJ, to my I don't watch Farm Sim as a rule thing. Because it would be stupid of me to not watch actual gameplay of FS19. And still be on YouTube. I mean, that would just be dumb. So I watched that entire video, and I do like... Some of the stuff I do question. I'm not gonna say, you know, I love everything, everything's perfect. There's some stuff that I question, but there must be a reason behind it. I know where he got it, Joe. He told Landy, and Landy was asked to not reveal where he got it, so I'm gonna follow through with that, even though Landy told me in Sim. But we all kind of share stuff that is technically secret with each other anyway. Just because there's trust. Trying to figure out what to do next, because all I can think of is plowing needs to be done. How to remove number plates? Yeah, just untick the visibility on the number plate model. It's that easy. Or if they're like baked onto the model itself, change the number plate to be something that fits whatever map you're on. Might involve a lot of tweaking and photoshopping, but it's a better solution than trying to paint over it and pretending it doesn't exist. So, let me look. The cows... How are the animals doing, actually? That's kind of a bit of a concern. Pigs need cleaning again. Pigs! You gits! You absolute gits of animals. Did I swap out the mower that I liked for that little one, by the way? Because if I did, I'd actually be kind of annoyed. Oh, bloomin' heck, that is the only mower I have, isn't it? Ah! I just cleaned pigs. Yeah, but then I skipped through night, so the pigs actually need cleaning again. Let's grab the Guldener. If you want to start a map now, don't. Blackout. If you want to start making a map, start working on like models and stuff for the map. Don't start on the map itself, because one of the worst things you can do, I think Bill might agree with me here, he might disagree. I think one of the worst things you can do is start a map and then just convert it without it ever having been released. I know Bill did this with the West Coast, and as a result it was subpar from what he wanted it to be. I think is the fairest way to put it. I know he could have been happy with the West Coast being better in some ways. But this is an FS15 map that was converted up and only ever released for 17. Yeah, and with so much changing, there's no point, because they're going to change how all the terrain info layers work. Map objects, I believe, aren't changing how they work. They might change one or two things, but not much. Here's a question, though. Will map objects have the material, require the material exporter? Because I think they should. I think map objects should require the material exporter. For one reason and one reason only, it's just so that they look better. Like, I would love to see that wall look like stone. That one, that's a bit of a shame, honestly. I hope that's a change that's made for 21, honestly. That might sound like I'm making things more complicated again, but I think it would be something that would improve a vast amount of the detail that you'd fit into a map. Because I believe Giants said that they're allowing more polys in FS19 now because the material system is reducing the amount of memory requirements. Because it just has to load the base materials now instead of having to load a separate texture map for every tractor. Or every piece of equipment and tractor and implement of any description. So I think having the material system on map objects would it cause optimization issues? I don't think so. I think it would actually, far from causing them, I think it would remedy some. I think it would optimize maps further if map objects use the material system as well. Granted, it would mean that we'd have to be in that awful situation where we're waiting for a bunch of new materials to come out and a bunch of new stuff. But the fact that it's an optimizational thing, I think would be a massive improvement. So I think it's a bit of a shame that the map objects won't be using materials. Does mean that we're going to get a butt ton more detail into mods. How are we down to 8690? Has YouTube done a bit of a purge? Or have people just got bored of me talking about modding for the last, like, hour? It's a topic I love, but maybe some people aren't interested. I don't know. Probably phasing it in. I guess so, but I mean, you can see where my frustration is, because it's a major optimizational boost to the game as a whole. And it's a bit of a shame that the map objects aren't going to have that same optimizational boost. So they're going to be running under the same limitations that they currently are, whereas vehicle mods are going to be running under very, much less limitations. I wouldn't be too surprised, though, if Giants, for the mod up, say, you wouldn't see as big of a memory saving. See, the thing is, Giants could put in pre-baked textures for the objects. That's the way I do it. Like, you can choose cobblestone, and you can make the lovely cobblestone walls that you see. I know it's not the same on the ground as it is on a wall, but I believe it's still called cobblestone. Or you can choose concrete, or steel, or aluminium, or stainless steel, or whatever material, and it just kind of paints that material on with a fit texture. I think even with multiple colors VF, I think you would still save memory, because if you're using pre-baked textures that the game only needs to load the once across everything, you're going to save memory and you're going to optimize the game further, just by default. Like, each one of these gates will have a separate texture file, because that's the way that they currently work. Each gate will have its own texture file, because there's one parent texture that it takes for all the gates, but they'll all be linked to that. And while yes, it's an optimizational thing, different Still requires textures wouldn't be a different color. Yeah, but if it's a baked on texture, a single baked on texture that is just there, instead of the modder deciding the texture, giants have, we'll say, a pre-baked. It doesn't use textures. Yes, it does. It does use textures. PBR isn't just some magical fix-all. There's still textures involved in PBR. It's just the textures are defined as materials. You could do the exact same thing for brickwork, for masonry, for wood, for steel. Doesn't use diffuse anymore. I think you could still use. I still think you could use the materials for map objects. Definitely some of them. Maybe some you would want custom textures on, like signs. You'd obviously want custom textures on, but I feel like there'd be a way to work it. I might be wrong. Might be horrifically wrong. I feel like there would be a way though. I'm no expert though. I mean, I'm probably slash possibly wrong. Well, possibly slash probably wrong. You wouldn't have any memory saving. So you could have said the back of it. Well, 100% for sure. They could do it with the metal sheds. So maybe not, we'll say a building like this. You probably couldn't do that with the materials, but you could sure as hell do it with a shed like this, or a shed like that, or these, or this, or pretty much any of this here. You could have the stickers still, but there would be memory saving to be had. What's that house did you see more of in County Kerry? Something like this. Old style farmhouse. But I think there would be memory savings to be had in certain areas with the material set, materials being maybe not universally, but definitely kind of applicable to map objects. Like, granted, this house probably wouldn't be possible. These, you could get away with it. Even this hydrant, I think you'd be able to get away with it. Concrete material. Yeah, you can get away with it on a lot more stuff than you lose memory savings on. That's the way that I'm looking at it. I mean, maybe my wall idea was a bit excessive, but definitely for sheds, it'd be something that would save memory. 4x4 baler, that'd be nice. Excuse me, pig. Can't find the number plate in G. Take about 10 minutes. Look for it, Massey. You'll find it eventually. I found the weakness in this pig area. Yeah, you'll need to find the transform that it's in. It can take 10 or 15 minutes to do that, Massey. Remember how earlier I was saying modding is full of patience? Yeah, that's one of the times where patience is key. So on the magic pig that... What? Okay then. On that note of magical teleporty pigs, I'm going to hide from now because they scare me. I'm going to call this a stream. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We've somehow lost 5 subscribers during the course of this stream, which is always good. I'll leave you by saying I've been RainbowDave. You've been watching the Insanity Challenge on the West Coast. I'll be back tomorrow with something. I don't know what. But until then, stay safe and goodbye.